Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I just saw the movie Obsession. I think it's a really good movie. I think, it is a horror movie, but the absolute horrors that I really thought about was nothing to do with the main villain, which is seemingly possessed Nikki, but rather the main character, which is Bear. Um, this guy right here, this guy Bear. And I think that we need to discuss more about the flaws that he has that I think are worth fearing because he's a real character in the sense that he's realistic. Someone like that could exist in real life. It's very unfortunate, but we're dealing with, Gen Z, the loneliness epidemic. A lot of Gen Z people are lonely. They don't have friends or they have fake friends. They don't have companionship, relationships. They lack social skills to get what they want, to communicate, and because of that, they suffer from lack of companionship. And all the problems of Gen Z are literally represented in Bear. And the first time watching this, I was so tensed up and terrified, not because of all the jump scares and whatever, but the character of Bear, like that really terrified me. Him being him, and someone like him not improving himself and not changing himself. And you should fear being this kind of person. Genuinely speaking, this is the biggest horror of obsession. Being like someone like Bear. And I just constantly think about how, just a quick summary. There's going to be spoilers in this video. But this is the very beginning, the first 20 minutes. We see Bear, a very timid, shy person. He is consulting a fake friend, Ian, who wants to sabotage him, as we later see, in his pursuit of his crush, Nikki. Bear likes Nikki, and Bear does not have the tool belt to actually express his feelings to Nikki and actually get, uh, you know, explore the idea of them being together. Nikki, on the other hand, is grounded, confident, and, you know, down to earth kind of girl. Curry Barker mentioned writing her as a girl next door, someone very sweet, and she has things outside of her life, or rather, things going for her outside of you know herself and relationships and all that. Unlike Bear, she wants to write. She's working on a book and wants to, she's working on a love story. Wants to work more on that and plans to quit her job that they all work in the music store to pursue this passion. Bear sees this as the opportunity because they're not going to see each other as much to ask her out. But we see in the beginning, Bear is consulting a fake friend, Ian, who's giving him advice like call her Freaky Nikki, which is a nickname that Nikki doesn't like, and telling him, oh, he has so much time. Like, you got time for him. No need to rush. And then when he tries to ask her out in the trivia night we see in the next scene, or at least have alone time with her at the bar, trivia night, Ian just interrupts. Like, this guy, you fear having a friend like him. That's the first fear. Fear having a friend like Ian. The second fear, going to Bear, or there's several fears that I have of Bear that we should not be like as men, is that when he tries to pursue Nikki, he fails horribly, you know, try to. They had a good conversation until the end, essentially when they're going home, and basically like Bear could have just straight up said, "I like you," and then maybe Nikki, who was someone that is nice enough to explore the idea of them being together, she could have said yes, and there we would have had like we wouldn't have a horror movie, right? But my first fear with Bear is that he could have got what he wanted, which is to be with Nikki, if he didn't shoot himself in the foot. What does that mean? He chickened out. He couldn't tell her that he liked him, that he liked her. Nikki even gave a layup. She gave an assist and said, because she was kind of annoyed that Bear resorted to calling her Freaky Nikki. So Nikki was like, Bear, do you like me? Bro, the amount of girls that wouldn't do this, I don't think girls would do that. Like, I'll be honest with you. Girls like to play around, and some of them like to play around, some of them like to not confront things. Nikki is a different person and confronted it, which is what Bear should have done. But he had the chance to say yes. He didn't. He said, "Oh, yeah, as friends," and then there. Nikki was disappointed. Bear was frustrated. Why? Why didn't I say yes? He couldn't say yes. He could have got what he wanted if he had said yes. He shot himself in the foot, and this is the biggest fear you should have as man. Some of us don't want to cross the path, the bridge. There's a bridge between you right now and your goals. And the reason why you don't want to cross the bridge is that you don't want to face discomfort crossing the bridge towards your goals. You don't want to face discipline, the courage, the consistency, whatever it takes, right? You would much rather stay where you are, face regret, which is a bigger pain than the pain of discipline and courage. Or, nowadays we have absolute falsification of human desire thanks to technology, like adult websites, AI tools, chatbots, who can LARP companionship and intimacy. And because you invest more into the fake, you become worse as a person and less attractive, shooting yourself in the foot for an actual real companionship, which is what you wanted after all. You dig your own grave deeper because you just can't face the pinch of discomfort, but you much rather get stabbed in the heart with regret because that's easier for some reason. It's easier to regret. It's in terms of starting out, right? It's so hard to start, but your life gets easier after that than to never start and then face the difficulty that comes from never starting or never doing that thing. This is the biggest fear I see in Obsession, the movie. He could have got what he wanted. This movie could have gone so much better if he had just taken the choice to say yes, actually confront his feelings. If he wasn't so frustrated, he wouldn't have been so frustrated. He wouldn't have been so hopeless in himself if he had just done that. He wouldn't have needed the wish, which, by the way, represents the false filler companionship that we tore ourselves with adult websites, ChatGPT, chatbotting, all that. All these AI chatbots, the AI companionship, things like that, things that are fake. Now we have like dolls, like technology is only going to get better and better at satisfying our biological instincts. But because it's fake, it's never going to actually give us what we want. And what we actually want was on the other side of discomfort. Just faced the discomfort, and he could have got what he wanted. Face discomfort. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You could have got what you want. but he shot himself in the foot. This guy could not man up. He's just born male with testicles. He doesn't. He's not a man. At 25 years old, I don't know. I just can't imagine being 25. You can't confront. I know it's hard, but like fumbling that bad is insane. So yeah, this is the biggest fear. I see it's obsession, right? For men, from a man's perspective, it's just the biggest fear, like absolute. You could have gone this life, but you resorted to something easier but worse. Second thing that all men should have is self awareness. He lacks this severely. He can't see outside of himself. He can't see himself in third person. He can't see his own flaws. He doesn't know that his obsession and his infatuation with Nikki is an obsession. It is an infatuation. His understanding of love is twisted and it's not realistic. He doesn't know that he needs to improve himself and be a better man before he gets into a relationship. He doesn't know that he could be a better man. He's not. He has a lot of flaws. He doesn't even know that like the amount of things that he needs to work on. Even if they did get into a relationship, right? There's so many flaws that Nikki would find out just being with him that maybe Nikki would lose attraction. And that's the thing. Like you have to know. You have to look outside of yourself in third person. Like look, looking at myself, third person. Zoom out and look at your life in third person and see, okay, what would others think of this person? What would others think of me and what I'm doing? Am I locked in? Am I, you know, am I locked in? Am I doing things that are worth doing? Or am I just wasting my time and all that? Right? You know, like, am I just wasting my time? Am I actually locked in? Am I actually locked in? It's just he lacks self awareness so severely, and we see this throughout the movie. If he was self aware, he might have understood that his desires have such a grip on him that he doesn't see the real Nikki. If he was self aware that he was blinded by the obsession, he could have noticed this is what many men don't have. Another girl actually into them. He could have noticed Sarah being into him because Sarah's so obvious. We saw in the beginning. And if it wasn't obvious enough, Nikki literally told him before he made the wish, before that whole incident, that Sarah likes Bear, that he likes. Imagine a girl telling you that another girl likes you, and you still want that. Like, you still want another girl that is is vague about liking you. It's like, bro, you could have just like, how are you so infatuated? Like, I get it, you have a crush, but like, golly, you could have just stepped back and be like, wait a minute, I have options. Like, this guy had options. So yeah, like he couldn't address that, right? And not only with self awareness, but like also he lacks the ability to detach from the outcome, and it's too into his desires, and it's the biggest reason why he becomes very questionable later on. He's too attached with Nikki and the desires and the outcome. He doesn't let anything else enter his mind. He doesn't let anything else enter his mind and be like, okay, wait, this is an option, that's an option. He's too infatuated with Nikki. He's too attached to the outcome. And this is a problem because when you're too attached and too obsessed with something you can't control, your mental health suffers a lot. Your mental health is going to suffer when the outcome doesn't happen. genuinely speaking, it sucks. It absolutely sucks. Having your crush crushes your mental health because of this reason. You don't know if they like you. You don't know if what's gonna happen. You're too obsessed over the outcome that you feel like it should happen, like something should happen, but there's absolutely no guarantees of happening. Just because you want it to happen, it's not gonna happen. You're too obsessed on the outcome and too attached to it, and it's something you can't control. And because you can't control it, a recipe for disaster. And because he lacks this ability, he he's the reason why this movie is called Obsession. Like Obsession refers to him, not Nikki, not Wish Nikki after the wish was made. It really refers to Bear. The amount of BS this guy went through being with Wish Nikki, the amount of weird and disgusting and horrifying behavior this guy is putting up with just to be with Nikki. Like, come on, man. Imagine that was a real relationship. This guy couldn't even walk away from her. He can't even walk away from it. Like, imagine this is a real relationship. This girl, the girl is so obsessed over you. She's standing 8 hours in the day waiting for you to come back, or she is very protective and very jealous to the point of like actual causing actual harm to others or being dangerous or being disgusting and weird. Like imagine you not be able to walk away from that and you try to make it work. Like there's actual relationships out there where they try to make it work and it should not work. Being too attached to that, like come on, man. You should fear this as a man. Being in that relationship, if this is a real relationship. Now, obviously, this is more scary for women because she's literally possessed. So, the woman relationship is literally possessed, being forced against her will to be in a relationship. That is obviously scary, and that is obviously the fault of the man or the male, not the man. He's not a man; he's a child. This bear, uh, it's the fault of Bear because he fails to realize that his concept of love is not actually love, and that it would the his concept of love was put into the wish, and that's why she turned out like that as wish Nikki. And because he's so attached to the outcome, he thought he wanted this so much that he doesn't even realize he doesn't want it. Only until later when it's too late. And even when he thinks he has the ability to change the wish, the fact that he thinks of changing the wish instead of canceling it, like, come on, man. He's too attached. He's too attached to the outcome. In a normal world, in the real world, without the wish, he's too attached to the outcome. He can't even walk away from it. In this case, he's too attached to the outcome that he wants to make it work. And it's like, bro, I fear. I genuinely fear being like this guy. Seriously. He lacks the ability to detach from the outcome and is too into his desires. Yep. And this is the biggest reason why people see him as a villain. And honestly, like in the beginning, he's a flawed character, but he's forgivable. Like he can work on himself. He fails to do that later on. He fails to have integrity. He lacks integrity because he's too attached to what actually was to the relationship, to what he wanted, and that's why he becomes disgraceful. Disgraceful. It's a quote from Malcolm X. It's not a criminal. Sorry. To remain a criminal is not the disgrace, but oh my gosh. To once be a criminal is no disgrace, but to remain the criminal is the disgrace. Meaning, to be flawed or to have done things in the past, that's not the bad part. The bad part is still doing them. That's where you're at fault. And he's still doing this. He's still tolerating all this somewhat, even towards the end. He could have killed himself. he didn't. He didn't want to. Like, I generally don't understand how you can tolerate all that and still want to back out. Now I know committing suicide is not good. I do not encourage it, but like in this magical world, it would have made sense because Nikki would have been freed. He still couldn't even commit to that. Like he still couldn't even commit to that. I'm sorry. Like, come on. And because of that, all these things, he's not a man. And because he's not a man, everyone around him suffers. You being a man makes everyone benefits from you being a man. Someone with vision, determination, ambition. Being a man in this world, you build it. You build it up. You make it better. Someone like Bear, he's too obsessed over a woman that becomes his purpose. Because that's his purpose, he's obsessed over this thing that he can't even control. And so when you give a man a power to do this thing that he can't even control, it has dangerous outcomes. Him not being a man and letting his emotions get the best of him, mixed with the power he's given, causes destruction. We see this, I wouldn't call Bear an incel, but we see this with real life incels. There's a guy that is known as like the father of incels or something like that. Elliot Rogers. He was such an incel. He was so young, 22 years old, could not find companionship, could not find purpose outside of women. He was too obsessed with women that he couldn't get into a relationship, and he ended up, causing a shooting. He was killed people because of this, because of his frustration, and it's really dangerous when males don't get frustrated. It's super dangerous when they lack confidence, then when they lack all these positive aspects, and they delve into their dark side a little too much, and they get access to weapons, they impose their view of the world in a dangerous way. And this is analogous to what Bear did with the One Wish Willow. He imposed what he wanted, what he thought he wanted, his frustration into the world, and it caused destruction. And all these incels in real life, if they get power to, I don't know, wish we would not have, I don't even know what would happen, to be honest with you. With great power comes to great responsibility, right? We learned this in Spider Man, right? This is literally the most dangerous thing that can happen. A bunch of males that don't turn into men, that get super frustrated, and coupled with that frustration is some sort of power to affect others, be a weapon or anything of the sort, and they're going to cause harm. This is something you should fear, because these people weren't born incels or villainous. They were they they were just a ticking time bomb, right? And it has to explode at some point, unless there's intervention. So Bear not being a man, his whole friend group died except Nikki, but Nikki's gonna have to suffer the consequences at the end. She survived, but caused two deaths was related to Bear's death. Um, has evidence all over her in the house. Did not want any of this, but unfortunately faces the consequences of a child not confronting his feelings and having too much power. And the woman faces the consequences of his actions. She's going to jail, most likely, and she did nothing wrong. She shouldn't have done nothing wrong, but unfortunately, that's what happens. You not being a man makes everyone suffer. Your family, your friends. You could be a better friend if you're a better person. You could be a better son, a better brother, a better partner, but you're just mediocre. You let your emotions get the best of you, and once you get a power that allows your view of the world to be imprinted onto reality, that's when you're the most dangerous. The power itself isn't evil, it's how you use it. And we as men know we can have power, but we need to shed the negativity in us, and we need to shed all the things that are hurting us, right? And we need to push forward in a way that builds the world up and not bring it down. And this is the scariest part about the movie. One of the scariest things is that if you're not careful enough, you can cause destruction when you're given power. And if you're not self aware enough, you're going to stay how you are and be flawed and not fix yourself. And you're never going to get what you want when you could have, but you can't, for some reason, face a little bit of pain to get to the other side. So yeah, I mean, this is literally the scariest thing about Bear. All these flaws that he has, it just makes you see this movie a little bit differently, especially from like a self improvement perspective, like a just a man, just someone just trying to become a better man perspective. Like you can get what you want. The world is there for the taking, but you yourself shoot yourself in the foot, and you don't allow yourself to reap the benefits of your efforts because you don't make the effort. You lack self awareness. You cannot see yourself outside first person, and therefore you can't see your own flaws. Don't be don't be like Bear. Don't. Generally speaking, fear being this guy. Fear being this guy. Fear lacking the ability to confront things, face discomfort. Fear facing regret. Fear not being a man and making everyone suffer around you. Fear being emotional, too emotional, and fear the power you have because you can make it out of frustration, out of anger, out of this or that, and cause destruction in the world. So fear being Bear. Generally speaking, fear being Bear. All right, that's all I have to say. This is literally the reason why I keep thinking about this movie. It's not even a horror movie in the traditional sense. It's a very tense, unsettling, disturbing movie, but not because of like Nikki, but because of Bear. Like generally speaking, like this movie brings out an example of a male that you should not be like. Like we have role models, but this guy is like the opposite of role model. This guy is like what you shouldn't be. This Bear should be someone that you shouldn't be like. He's the opposite of role model. He's like, nah, I'm not. I like in the beginning, a lot of men relate to him in the beginning, but later on, with how he devolves, is what we were like, oh, no, thank you, right? No, thank you. That's no, thank you. Like, generally speaking, this is the scariest part of the movie. He's a realistic character given, but he's given power, and that power reflects who he is. He's the scariest part of the movie. So yeah, that's why I really liked it. Like I generally am not a horror person. I'm not a film person, to be honest. I'm I'm not even like that kind of guy. I just it's just that feeling you get when you look at like a super fat person, like Nikata Avocado, and like it motivates you to stay in shape because you don't want to be like that guy. Yeah, this is literally what I felt like watching the movie. Like you look at Nikata Avocado. I know he had a surgery recently, but like if you look at him when he was fat, like generally it's like I don't know what you call that. It's not fear in like the traditional sense, but there's a kind of feeling you get when you look at someone so down bad in so many regards, and you're just like, I do not want to be like him. Like that's how I felt with Bear. So yeah, don't be like him, and that takes a lot of self development to not be like him. So yeah, thanks for listening.